Todd, welcome. Teague Talks, your gem for coming. I like the tie. I mean, you guys in Spartanburg, South Carolina, all suited up, even through the pandemic.
It's how we roll, man. Look sharp, be sharp, all that. That's the way we've always done it. I don't think it's ever going to change. Yeah. Good to see you.
Full disclosure, I wore my silver suit today for Corry.
I can tell you.
He always wore that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. And it's well noted that you stepped it up.
Thank you. I think he wanted to accentuate his, glowing silver locks. I'm trying to hide mine.
Yeah, I know. Me too. Yeah. It's not working very well for me.
That's right. Good to see you, by the way, last week at Marriott.
Yeah.
And at the services for Corry, God bless. I just want to say you did a fantastic job. If I haven't told you that, I really thought you spoke for everybody. I thought you were very eloquent. And I thought you nailed the room, by the way. It was a who's who of the hotel industry, of the Wofford University, of OTO.
Well, thank you for saying that. That was, probably the hardest thing I've ever done, but it was, really an honor and a blessing. I'm sure I'll get emotional a few times during this and apologize up front, but, honor and a blessing to sort of reflect on my life with him and to talk about, how his life impacted mine and yours and, 1,500 other people in the room. It helped me start healing a little bit better to kind of face all that at once and to talk about it in a room like that. But thank you for saying that. I'm glad you were there. It means a lot.
I was going to ask, so how did it impact you? But go.
Well, at that particular event, I first told Amy that I can't do this. There's just no way I can do this. It's the life I spent more of my life with him than anyone else, and blessed for that. And just the whole that I have. I didn't think I could speak through that so that people could hear what I had to say, and I read through it once with my family before going, and that didn't go very well either. But they helped me kind of laugh through some things and sort of try to get some nerves out. But then seeing what Corry's daughters did before me, gave me the strength to say I can do this if they did it, and just to be able to sort of open up myself and really feel emotions that I really have always fought in my life, and just be more expressive and understanding of what I'm going through, something like that. But yeah, it was tough, but it probably gave me more courage to do that type of thing. Not that type of thing, but things that are that daunting, to say you can overcome this if you just kind of dig deep. I think Corry gave me some power there. He would have done it for me, would have done it, I think, much better. But he just kind of just dipping back into the strength that he's given me through the years, and watching the family and being with them and understanding the scale of the loss they've had. I felt it was important to do it and to speak for me and the company and as many people as I could touch. But yeah, it was kind of a transformation for me.
Yeah, and it's not over, right? The transformation gets to continue. I mean, it's only been a couple of weeks, right?
Yeah, 5 weeks. That's right.
Yeah, God bless.
Yeah.
So, what are you learning about yourself in the 5 weeks?
It's I think people surprise themselves about how you can step up sometimes when you're faced with things that you don't want to happen, things you don't expect, and you're faced with challenges, and you got some choices. You can either sort of crumple from them, or you can face them head on and try to step up and to be there for all 2,600 of us at OTO who have put their work lives and personal lives kind of behind a Corry Oakes, and we all want to see his legacy continue. And now I've been with him for longer than anybody, and seeing the master at work, and I've learned a few things along the way. But it's really just my dedication to him and his memory, his legacy, and to all of us here who are OTO. And that's kind of what's motivated me to say, yeah, I can do this. I'm going to do my best. I'm not going to be Corry. No one ever will be, but that's, I'm going to do what I can. We have a fantastic team.
What'd you learn from Corry? What's the best number one trait you learned from Corry?
You know, that there's so many things, you know, he's just so gifted. What we have, we've got OTO is part of the Johnson Group, and, you know, long-standing relationship with that family, you know, invaluable mentors and friends. And we codified, you know, 4 or 5 years ago, what we call the guiding principles. And really, it, you know, Corry personifies all of them, each of them. But seeing him kind of live those, and once we got these things down on paper and you know, kind of understood, yeah, how you should live your life and work and at home, it really clarifies a lot of things and makes things easier. You know, if you have a set of rules that you're going to follow, the gray area goes away pretty well. I mean, Corry's integrity put up against anybody you've ever met. I mean, he's never going to tell you something that's not true. He's never, you know, he's always going to shoot you straight. His, you know, his sort of infinite energy, you know, was something to behold. And, you know, we call that initiative as one of our guiding principles. And, you know, he lived that every day and pushed that on everyone else and me. And he always wanted us to be better, wanted himself to be better, wanted me to be better, wanted all of our teams to be better. And he wanted to do what he could to help that. The thing that's probably most impressive about him was his ability to connect with people. And, you know, he connected with you. You know, you didn't see him but a couple times a year, but you considered him a dear friend, I'm sure. He considered you a dear friend. And thousands of people around the country feel like that, where, you know, he was their best friend or a very dear friend, and somebody that they would call for advice about whatever it was. You know, and you know, very, very special person. I've never met anybody like him. And, you know, his ability to put others first is probably one of the greatest sort of life lessons that I've seen him live out every day. And you know, genuine concern for others. And you know, it's just an amazing role model in every facet of someone's life.
Yeah, they were at the services. There was a group of us standing around, and Andy Wimsat said, I knew without a doubt that I was his best friend and certainly his favorite broker.
Yeah.
And he said that to an audience full of brokers, and said, and I know each and every one of you would say the same. Yeah.
That's a perfect way to sum it up. And George Johnson stepped in my office just 20 minutes ago and said the exact same thing, is that how many people do you know who would consider Corry their best friend, right? And exactly what you're saying. Yeah.
All right. So remind me, when did you guys meet? How long ago was it?
20 years? It was 32 years ago, 33 years ago.
2 years.
Yeah, a little while ago. Corry and I both got our first sort of real jobs with George Johnson and his blockbuster video franchisee based here in Spartanburg. Corry went to Wofford, I went to Sewanee, and he went straight out of school, and I piddled around for a little while before getting a real job. And he was in the construction side, and I started off in marketing, and we were on parallel paths. It didn't really intersect a whole lot for the first couple of years. And then when our franchise group was bought by the parent company down in Fort Lauderdale, Corry moved down to Lauderdale with some other folks and started running Blockbuster corporate from Fort Lauderdale. So I was still in the Southeast, started doing real estate deals out of the Southeast, and saw him every now and then, but not that often. We really kind of became tight when in 1994, we sold Blockbuster, the whole company, to Viacom, and decided to start Extended Stay America. So that's where it was just a couple of us who started that company. And between the 3 or 4 of us, we knew jack squat about lodging. But and Corry was heading up the construction side, and I was on the real estate side, and we were just kind of trying to figure out what the heck we were dealing with here, what kind of opportunity this was. But
why did you pick lodging? Do you remember why you picked lodging?
Well, why not, man? It seemed reasonable at the time. We'd stayed in hotels before.
Sure.
Hampton Inn was fine, but why lodging? We liked rental businesses. We liked the ability to create some scale. At the time in the mid-90s, there was no competition for ESA. There was Residence Inn with some, Homewood with some, and the Suburban Lodge down at the bottom. And we felt like, here's an opportunity to go build a brand out. Let's call it Extended Stay America. Let's put kitchens in there, a little bit better than Suburban Lodge. And the demand seems to be everywhere. And partly because we were too dumb to know that it was impossible, we put the machine together and built 475 of them in 9 years and operated them all. Something that looking back on it, you'd say, well, there's no way someone could do that. We didn't know it was impossible. So we just did that. And, but the greatest thing that Corry and I did together in the very beginning was to hitch our wagons to a family and an entrepreneur and a group of operators, the Johnson family, that have been the trajectory for both of us, and their vision and their drive and their dedication to growing people and to taking advantage of opportunities is what sort of got us step to here. And that's been sort of the greatest blessing for him and me was how we started, and the great fortune of starting with the Johnsons. Still with them and plan to be with them a very long time.
Yeah, what's that? My grandfather's old saying was, "It's not what you know, it's who you know."
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
Between Corry, between the Johnson family.
Yeah.
Oh, Huizinga's in there somewhere, but
yeah, Wayne was with the Blockbuster start, he was the chairman of the board and the head of that group and he was also the chairman at Extended Stay America when we launched that. So Wayne has been a visionary leader for us and for the Johnsons for many, many years. He passed away 3 or 4 years ago, but yeah.
So remind me, when did we launch OTO?
In 2004, after we sold ESA to the Blackstone Group, we just the next day said, okay, let's start something else. We've learned a little bit about lodging since we started ESA, and we recognized some opportunities there. We at the time we started ESA, there were more Hampton Inns in South Carolina than there were in California. So we said, okay, here's an opportunity perhaps to go build this very solid brand in the suburban markets in California, in the Mid-Atlantic, Northeast, and in Florida. We were looking for, good commercial sites in growing suburban areas. Pretty simple deals to execute, kept it fairly prototypical. We did Spring Hill and Hampton mainly in the beginning, and we were merchant builders. The plan was, this is the mid 2000s where, you build them, and by the time you open them, you got a buyer ready to pay something that gives you a crazy return. You take those proceeds, roll it into the next one. So we did that for the first 3 years until the music stopped in 2008, and realized, well, that doesn't work anymore. And we opened 17 hotels in 2009, which was a bad year to open 17 hotels, being a new company that had to form an operating business. So that was not the best idea either. But like we've done at many steps along our various businesses and stages, we coming out of that financial crisis, we recognized there were some deals we could do that weren't available to us before. And so we adjusted our strategy and said, instead of just sort of picking around the edges of these major metro areas, let's go to the bullseye. So we did, instead of doing Erie, Pennsylvania, we built a Hampton Inn right around the corner from where the ball drops in Times Square. In California, instead of doing Modesto, we're 5 blocks from the pier in Santa Monica. And, in DC, with Sterling, Virginia was the first phase. And then the next phase of urbanization, we built a Hampton Inn 2 blocks from the White House. So that kind of thing is how we changed our strategy to go into the core. And that was right when urbanization was happening and we could actually find sites and build things.
Yeah. What year was that? Years.
That was probably, we started that in 09 and 10, got our first deals, urban deals going. We built a Hilton Garden in Noma in DC. That was our first real urban deal. That one actually was going sort of through the financial crisis, and there were some struggles getting that through. But we had some good partnership with Doug and the Stonebridge guys to get that one through that mess. But we kind of learned from that we can manage some complexity, and then started working on Times Square things and Penn Station stuff, and have since been honing our strategy and have adjusted a little bit. Really past 4 years, we've been focusing more on acquisition of existing hotels and repositioning repositioning them, rebranding them, adding our management as our main vehicle for growth. So, past 4 years, I think we've done $1 billion worth of new projects, and most of those have been through 15 acquisitions, and we've had also 4 construction starts that have completed. But we're still in the construction business. We've got a couple under right now. We think that's a great way to deliver value, but that construction pricing risk and timing risk is just getting tougher and tougher.
Yeah. So talk to me about that. And that's part of your style, but what do you think the future of OTO is? I mean, oh, by the way, we got some headwinds coming at us right now. So
well, the future, I mean, what we've been doing has been working pretty well by, focusing on this blend of acquisitions in these premier areas. Like we bought a Hojo on the beach in St. Pete Beach, Florida. There hadn't been a new hotel built on the sand in 30 years. The only way you're getting in there is to buy something. So we've been watching this hotel for about 5 years, and finally the connections worked out that we got the chance to buy that one, and we executed on it beautifully. Put in about 130 grand a room on it, and made it into a fabulous hotel. It's got very high performing F&B, a nice beach bar that you would enjoy personally.
I know. I've been there.
Coconut Charlie's, you've been there? Okay,
yeah.
Well, that's good. And that's named after Charlie King, our CFO, as you might know.
Thank you.
There's a rendering of him there. I'm sure you have a T-shirt with his face on it from your visit, but thank you for your dollars.
I might.
So where we go from here is, one of the great parts about being part of the Johnson organization is we've got committed capital. It's patient capital. There's no deals we have to do. There's no quota we have to hit every year for deals. If we find deals that deliver the kind of, risk adjusted metrics we're looking for, that we're going to keep growing. I mean, right now is a fairly unprecedented, at least in recent history, struggle with, where's inflation going, where interest rates going, where's construction pricing going, and wage pressures everywhere, right? So we're being more prudent, more cautious right now than we have been in the past 4 years.
What's your answer to all of those questions?
Well, we've learned how many times now that predicting the future is pretty tough. But I think if we continue to focus on getting the type of assets and sites and markets we've been doing for the past 3 or 4 years, we've got a very long horizon view that a great site today, a great asset today, and a great market with a bright future is going to be great 20 years from now. And that's kind of our horizon, 20 plus years. So if we could, find something where it seems like a reasonable going in number, and then we're going to keep looking at it. But we're not anxious to get money out, and I think we'd all like to feel a little more stability of our footing before we start getting aggressive. But the best deals we've ever done as a company, a couple times through now, have been out of disturbances and disruptions. Right. Out of the GFC, the best deals we ever did there, basis wise, and during COVID, in the past just 12 months alone, we've closed on 9 hotels and started construction on 2 more. So we've been aggressive coming out of this disruptive period of COVID when there are probably more sellers than there normally would have been. And we think that the general point of view for us is there's going to be some more disruption coming. We think there's going to be a little bit of a maybe a heavier fall on the recession, who knows? But we're kind of gearing up for some more opportunity to be coming, because we know, we're not through the valley yet, but very encouraged about our recovery pace. We've got a lot of hotels in the Bay Area, 7 on the peninsula, Silicon Valley type hotels. Yep. And we were just talking with a revenue management director today, and she was saying that this Tuesday and Wednesday should be record Tuesday, Wednesdays for us. And next week could even beat this week's Tuesday, Wednesday, because we've got some big groups in house. We've also got some corporate activity returning to the Bay Area. Been a long time.
And sorry, I'm going to be real clear because I think this is important. But when you call it a record, you mean an all-time record, not just a record since COVID or in the last week, but an all-time record?
Yeah. On for a Tuesday, Wednesday, right. Yeah. Our weekends we're a little stronger this summer. We've got a much heavier leisure beach focus in our portfolio today than we ever have had. But now we're starting to see this midweek recovery that we, this part of September and October are traditionally very strong corporate travel months anyway. But we've been very pleased with the pickup and the pace we're seeing over the next 45 days.
And you think that's going to continue?
This is
What's
the
the
next 45
budget?
days are a great period. And, around the holidays, things will slow down like usual. But, we're already seeing some encouraging stuff for the fourth quarter and even into the first quarter in some of our beach markets. So it's tough to know how far out it's going to be sticky, but it's nice to feel very encouraged by some trends that we've been waiting a long, long time to see show themselves. I just think that we're going to see several years of really, really way below average supply growth. That's going to help all of us sort of get that occupancy back to where it was in 19 and moving forward. But, I don't see rate, dialing back substantially anywhere. Seems like with the overall inflationary environment, people, this is kind of sticking. But, as long as what's going on macroeconomically doesn't really damage the whole demand profile of people having budgets to travel and feeling like they have enough in their bank account to go on vacation. So we're not modeling that to happen, and hope we're right.
Do you think construction costs are going to go down?
We've heard some things very recently about construction pricing flattening, but I think that's the first step. And coming out of the great financial crisis, overall construction pricing went down about 15% from pre to 2010 or 11. With what I would imagine is going to happen with the housing starts is also going to be dramatically reduced.
So on the development side, you think you guys are going to pause? I mean, even though you can, because of your banking relationships and your construction experience, you guys more than anyone should be able to get this stuff done. But
That's right. That's right.
Going to pause, and if so, is it for 6 months? Is it for 2 years? Or do you know?
Well, I would say not a pause. We just started construction on AC in Naples and AC in Jacksonville, the town center, just a few months ago. So those were deals where the pricing went up astronomically over a 6-month window of budgeting it to the final bids. But the deal still made sense with what was going on in the markets and the quality of those deals. We've got another site we're working on Long Island that is a development deal that won't be ready to start till probably the end of next year. So we're still moving forward with that one in normal pace. And the value creation that you generally can create by new build in the right place is tremendous. It just has a lot of timing risk to it. And, if you're looking at a pro forma today, trying to model what it's going to cost to build 18 months from now, very damn difficult. We've had trouble budgeting a renovation that's just 3 months out. That has come back wildly sporadic. So that modeling is the tricky part. So you need to go into things with a broad berth. And we still are wide open to looking at new development deals, but we do love this acquisition model as a quick return, possibly lower risk, a little bit easier financing situation.
Remind me how many hotels you guys have again right now?
We have 40 now. We manage 28 others for third parties. Yeah. We got 2 under construction, and we'll close on another acquisition by the end of the year.
How many think you have a year from now?
We'll probably have, I think we'll probably have 44 to 46 a year from now. Yeah.
Or are we selling anything? I mean,
we haven't sold anything since 2016. And, we talk about it every now and then about, changing the weighting of our portfolio to certain regions. And we really love the Southeast. We really love these markets where jobs are moving, where people are moving, where supply is manageable. But we have just a tremendous portfolio. And just to give you some examples, in 2019, our portfolio RevPAR was $185, which is pretty good. And this year will probably be.
And you have a lot of portfolios.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. And it's select service. So the margins are very good too, right? So we like what we've done. We like that model. We're going to keep doing that. And, particularly with, hiring is very difficult for every company in every business. Hiring is difficult. So having that more simplified operating model, I think, has been very key to our ability to sustain this and to come out of it strong and to still have a very bright future ahead of us.
I think your future is super bright. So but let's talk. So let's talk about Todd Turner, the CEO, right? I mean, we knew Corry's style. What is Todd Turner's style of leadership, as you see it?
Well, I loved being Corry's wingman for 18 years. I mean, that was like, I used to tell my wife, that's the greatest, I have the greatest job in the world. Corry's, I'm not so sure if that was the greatest job in the world, but here I am, I have it. And, you know, Corry could own a room. I mean, you saw him, you know, walking down the hall at these lodging conferences. It's like you're walking down there with a superstar. And, you know, he never wanted the spotlight, but it was on him a lot, right? Whether he wanted it or not, but he's just such a humble guy, and it was all about the team. And he'd be the first to tell you that our team is OTO, and that I'm, you know, so what he did is he laid the tracks, you know, into our future, right? Through his years of effort, his years of impressing upon all of us little pieces of him, and giving, you know, little bits of his energy to all of us, and we all share his vision. So he put the tracks down, and really we're all dedicated to staying on those tracks, and you know, with the Johnsons providing tremendous mentorship and leadership and guidance on where we want to take this company. They're so open and available to me as a new leader in this business. But he's provided just so many examples of how I want to be. I'm not going to try to be Corry. Nobody can be him. That would be inauthentic and would come off weird. And I mean, my style is probably make sure we have the right team on the track, and get out of the way and let them run, and, you know, provide some coaching and cheering along the way. And you know, obviously have to provide that strategic guidance about, you know, where are we going to be on the growth platform? You know, what type of managers are we going to be? What type of F&B complexity do we want to deal with, or farm out to other people? The organization we have and the experience we have is just fantastic. I'm just so lucky to have inherited that, where it's just, we keep doing what we've been doing. You know, real estate group is phenomenal in our success. They're so key to what we've done. So, you know, my style is, and I think it's going to have to evolve too. I was, you know, as I said, very happy being Corry's wingman, but I feel like he's my wingman now. And, you know, if I have these sort of touch points of just kind of thinking about, well, you know, how would Corry handle this? What would he say? How would he do this? I mean, he's always going to be with me to help me through some tough decisions and tricky moments. But I've got a lot to learn, and that's the mode I'm in right now, is meeting a lot of individuals in different departments that I kind of was in my silo of real estate. I didn't really understand the complexity of what they do in revenue management every day, or, you know, how much is involved with all these HR decisions with our 2,600 people. You know, these important things that Corry knew very well. So I'm kind of in that mode of learning and meeting people and understanding where we have challenges and where we need some guidance. But fortunately, the house is in good order.
So what's your message to your team as we're wrapping up here? Give a message to the OTO.
I mean, the message, I think, is we need to take care of one another, that we are OTO. You know, Corry was the big old capital O of OTO, but he infused in each of us his qualities and his drive and his motivation, that if we didn't share all that, we wouldn't be part of the team. We wouldn't have made it. We wouldn't have cut it. So the message for us is, you know, we need to keep executing like we have been, like he taught us to, and like he would want us to. And, you know, we owe it to ourselves, and we owe it to him. We owe it to the company and to our teammates to keep moving like we have, and delivering at a very high level every day.
Listen, you've got, and I'm being sincere, I know a lot of your team is incredible. And you're a fantastic guy, and you've got a lot of your own skill sets, and I know you're going to be a great leader.
Thank you, sir.
Do really well, and it will be different. It just is, but I got a lot of confidence, and we're cheering for you. So good luck. I
appreciate that. You're a dear friend, and I appreciate that very much. I know you mean it.
And I watched you crush it at the service, so I know
Thanks,
it's you got it. Todd, thanks for doing this. Thanks for letting me barge in. I wanted to get your raw emotions and feelings, because that's what it is, and we'll come back and check on you.
That's right. All right, brother. Teague, thanks, pal.
Good to see you.
See you, man. Thank you. See you. Bye.